Kaltoff with Stamping to Share. Thank you for joining me. Today we are going to make a very quick, easy, simple card using the stamp set called Coffee Cafe that can also be purchased as a bundle in our 2017-18 Stampin' Up! Catalog. This is what it looks like if you decide to purchase the bundle. It includes the Coffee Cafe stamp set along with the coffee cup framelets. And this truly is one of my very favorites in our current catalog. And another thing that I love about this is you can also purchase coordinating Coffee Break Designer Series paper. And there's even some framelets that match some of the items in the Designer Series paper. So we have just some great coffee coordinated papers here. And then probably one of the things that I really fell in love with was all these little swirls, because goodness knows I've certainly wiped up enough of these on my counter for me to have a very intimate relationship with this look. And so I thought it would be kind of fun to create a card that used that paper, and so this is what it looks like. So it's a very simple card, but it's a great thank you card and one that you can make really quickly. And this is the inside panel. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to need, of course, is some cardstock for our card base. This card base is cut at 5.5 by 8.5, and I've scored it at 4 1/4. And this is in early espresso. So we're just going to fold this in half along the score line, give it a little press with the bone folder here so it will lie flat for us. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and glue down the next panel. This panel is 4 by 5 1/4 and it's in garden green. So I'm going to go ahead, grab my multi-purpose liquid glue, and we're just going to do a little triangle all the way around. And then we're going to set this over the top of the card base and just kind of wiggle that into place so that all 4 borders are nice and even. Now we're going to go ahead and do our inside panel. So we'll have 2 pieces of crumb cake paper, both of them cut the same size. This is 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and then our inside panel will also be 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So we're going to go ahead and do that next, which is pretty easy because all we have to do is glue on a panel of this Designer Series paper. And this panel is cut at 3/4 inches by 3 3/4. So we can go ahead, we'll just put some liquid glue down here at the bottom, and then we'll just set this in and we'll wiggle that into place. Get that in there. And if you have a little bit of an edge, it's no problem because you can flip your paper over and then using one of Stampin' Up's paper snips or a scissors, just trim that even. All right, so now let's go ahead and we'll put this on the inside panel of our card. I'm just gonna take some multi-purpose liquid glue here along the top. We'll open up the card, and again, we're just going to center this in so that all 4 borders are nice and even. There we go. So we have the inside panel of our card complete. Now we're going to go ahead and continue building layers on this outside panel. So as a reminder, it's 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And we're going to go ahead and put a strip of Designer Series paper along the bottom. And this is 1 by 3 3/4. And we're just going to, again, put that on with a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue. So I'm just going to scoot that down here to the bottom, and we'll wiggle that into place. We'll check our edge, and it doesn't appear that there's any kind of an overlap, so that's all good. Then we're going to take some copper trim, and we're just going to cut that a tiny bit longer than our card here. And we are going to tape that down with some Scotch tape. So I've got some Scotch tape, and I'll go ahead and do that. All right, as you can see, I've got this copper trim taped down on the back, and we have our front panel prepared as far as we can go for the moment. Now we need to do some stamping. Because this stamp set is photopolymer, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Stampin' mat, and then I just have a piece of scrap paper here. Now, one thing that you'll notice when you get this stamp set is this coffee stamp. The cup here is pretty loose. It's a photopolymer stamp, so sometimes when you put it down onto your block, it's hard to make sure that you're getting it exactly the way it's supposed to go. And you want to make sure it goes exactly the way it's supposed to go because you are going to be cutting this out with framelits. So to make sure that it goes the way it's supposed to go, what I do is I just flip it around, drop it down on a piece of paper, make sure that it's in its natural relaxed state the way it's supposed to be. Then I put my block over the top. And when I pick it up, I know that it is sitting on my block the exact way it needs to be in order for me to get a good cutout at the Big Shot machine. So now I'm just going to take this with some Early Espresso ink. Just ink this up, and we're going to stamp that on our piece of Whisper White scrap. Perfect. Now we are going to just take a little scrap of Early Espresso along with this coffee cup design and run that through the Big Shot machine. I've already done that for you in advance so that we wouldn't have to take time to do that on the video. So this was my sandwich that went through the Big Shot machine. I have my magnetic platform, my cut plate, my scrap of Early Espresso paper for the lid of my coffee cup, and then the cutout that I did of the coffee cup. And so I have that ready to go and this ready to go. So let's go ahead and get this onto our card. So before we go too much further, I'm just going to take a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue right here along the top of the cup, and I'm going to set in the lid just like so. So let me get that glued into place. And then we're going to put this down on our Stampin' mat because we are going to stamp Thanks a Latte onto this coffee cup. So we'll set that there, and then I'm going to get some garden green ink into the picture. Here's my Thanks a Latte stamp, and we're just going to stamp that right here in the center of our coffee cup. Perfect. All right, now we can go ahead and we'll put that onto our card with some dimensionals. So let me flip this over. All right, as you can see, I've added 5 dimensionals. Now I'm just going to set this in right here on my card panel so that it looks as if it's sitting on this coffee cup stained countertop. Then we can go ahead, flip that over, and we'll just apply some multi-purpose liquid glue to the back. And then we can set that in on the front of our card base. And now, just to add a little bit of sparkle and the total finishing touch to this card, I'm going to add a couple of shapes that we have from our metallic enamel shapes pack. So since I love coffee, I'm going to grab this silver heart with my paper piercing tool, and we're going to set this right about here. And then I'll take a little circular shape and put that right here, and then one more of those little circular shapes and add it right up here. So we have our card complete. So this is what it looks like, and it's the one I've just completed for you. And here's one that I had done in advance. So thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate it. If you'd like to place a product order, be sure to visit my blog at www.stampingtoshare.com. Have a great day. Bye-bye.